morning. Good morning. We are in the season of growth, summertime, thriving time, precious time. The mountains that surround us have changed their shoes from soft brown to bright green so they can dance to the songs of summer. Summer, when we listen to the music of rain falling from above, to lightning and thunder creating a symphony around us in one of nature's wondrous and most welcome magic shows. It's all a miracle performed in our midst to nurture everything on the sacred ground where we live. Summer, when we listen to the children playing all day, free of school demands. We watch them growing before our very eyes, as we once did, in the precious, now long ago time of our youth. Remember when you'd play in the rain and not care about your clothes or being wet or cold? Remember when you could push the limits of your body and run and jump and fall without considering the damage that might be done? Remember? Take a deep breath. Lay your hands in your laps. Close your eyes. Feel your feet on the ground. Focus your mind. Relax in this moment. Take a deep breath and listen to the breath as it travels through you and out of you. Take another breath. Bring yourself to the awareness of summer when you were young. Recall a moment when you were playful and happy. Notice the activity you were performing in that moment. Notice how your body is working for you as you play. Notice how your mind and body are connected in that moment. Notice how strong you are, how happy you are, how free you feel. You are in balance. Notice that moment of you. That moment lives within your body and mind. You are that person. You are that moment. You always will be. Raise your arms to your shoulders and embrace yourself. Hold yourself tenderly. Your youth is within the body you hold. Container that cradles your spirit, your soul, your consciousness. Embrace yourself with the awareness that the body and mind always seek the balance of that youthful moment when they were in harmony. Hold your body close in the loving awareness that in one moment you will become all the moments of your life. Surrender to the miracle of death, your gift to the universe. Right now, in this moment, you are in harmony with everyone and everyone around you. And most deeply, you are in harmony with yourself. Open your eyes. Listen to the music of being alive.
The War on Aging is going to be presented to us by Patsi and Rob Krakoff. Have you noticed seniors are much younger these days, and yet usually around 60 or 65, they know there's a lot of stuff going on in their bodies and brains, a lot of different stuff, and they wonder what to do about it, or is it too late? The new imperative is to exercise. Nothing else will do as much to delay the decay process and eliminate the chronic diseases of old age. Dr. Patsi and husband Rob Krakoff believe that if we start now, we can stay fit for the rest of our lives. So Patsi and Rob are going to share with us what they have learned and practiced through their combined 148 years of experience. Dr. Patsi Krakoff holds a doctorate of psychology degree. She's still working through her online writing services, businesses, content for coaches, where she ghostwrites newsletters, ebooks, and blogs for leadership coaches. She has been an LA social worker, a Paris fashion model, a journalist for French Men's Vogue, and a global jet setter. Rob is founder and president of Razor USA and MindFX Science. He has a distinguished history in the computer gaming hardware industry dating back to the early 90s. Funny to say early 90s. Is that long ago? As a former professional athlete, Robert continued to pursue interest in sports and science, and with his wife Patsi, has co-authored a new book on senior fitness, wellness, and anti-aging, which we get the pleasure of hearing about today. Please welcome Rob and Patsi.
Am I on? Yeah. Oh, good. Turn you on. My pleasure. No.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Okay. I can hear you fine.
Good morning. Kat, that was great. I appreciate the introduction, and that story on the St. Peter's is actually involved in our presentation. Pretty cool. You know, we have this. Oh, there's an audience. We have this. We all have this long lifespan, and it's pretty much getting longer and longer. And we also have a parallel health span, which is getting shorter and shorter. And our goal is to help people increase the health span so it matches the lifespan. Because what happens is a lot of people retire or get close to retirement or get very, very busy with families in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and they stop all activity in terms of what's happening to their body. And they get into some other things that we'll talk about too, that are kind of debilitating. But what happens is that the health span kind of ends somewhere, let's say it ends at 50, but the lifespan now is getting close to 80. Well, my wonderful math, that's another 30 years. That's 30 years of what's going to happen to us. And that's full of disease and trauma and pain and discomfort that you don't need to experience. So health and longevity sciences have changed dramatically over the last 10 years, really dramatically. Actually, the last 10 years were equal to the previous 100 years in terms of discovery of science. So think about that. So, and in the next 10 years, there'll be exponential discoveries, new sciences, and that we will be able to experience. So what we really want to do is at least live, perhaps not, want to live another 10 years. Now I'm kind of at my expiration date right now if you look at the actual numbers, but my goal is to live another 10 years because what's going to happen in those 10 years is just absolutely amazing. And we've seen it in the last 10 years. There's next advances in physiology, biochemistry, molecular biology, longevity and genetics will be equal to the last 100 years. It's amazing. So, and many of these medical and scientific innovations can and will affect our lives. So, we live in a time when genomics and cell therapy and it will continue to extend our lives. So it's not unusual for us to live into our 80s, 90s, and beyond. And it's going to happen. I mean, we used to be a race that humans that died off just after our reproductive years. And now we're living way beyond that. So if we, as seniors, and some of us are not seniors here, but those of us who are seniors, we can maintain a reasonably healthy body and brain over the next 10 years, we should be able to take advantage of some of these amazing discoveries, these health technologies and so-called cures that will be for common aging and diseases that cause death as well. So, actually, what is aging?
Something like you?
So aging is nothing more than the buildup of genetic everything that happens to us happens at a cellular level. So aging is just, you know, a way of, you know, what happens, the cells die, cells start to, they cease to replicate, cease to split, and we get old, we get gray, and we get wrinkled, and, oh, this was with and so many of the environmental conditions that cause the DNA errors can be slowed and even completely obliterated. For example, smoking, obesity, inactivity, you know, which is really what we're here about, talking about. The way you deal with stress and sleep deprivation. Those can all be, those contribute to those DNA errors. So, by being here today, I'm assuming that most of you are interested in what we have to say and would like to witness those scientific wonders over the next 10 years. And the other thing is that oxidative stress and inflammation are essentially the life to all humans. When this occurs, it goes up in our cells and we can become primed for decay. Diseases, debilitating conditions. Inflammation in the body is linked to many forms of cancers, heart disease, strokes, memory loss, anything that goes wrong with you. Diabetes, it just goes on and on and on. And so we're beginning to learn is how to manage the DNA errors through physical activity, exercise, diet, nutrition, and medicine as well. So the future looks really bright for those who take care of their bodies and needs and manages their health wisely. So as two healthy, active, and very inquisitive seniors, we have been studying the health and fitness, you know, we're not clinicians, but we've been studying this as many lay people would for a number of years. And what we've learned is exciting and fascinating and totally actionable is that for every one of us, nearly every one of us, you're never too old or too infirm to start programming. These collective discoveries are what led us to collaborating and writing our first book, Senior Fitness for Life.
Let me just say right off that Rob and I are not medical doctors or physical trainers or physiologists, but we do have a passion about staying healthy. And it's really important if you're going to have any sort of quality of life. But we're not medical experts, so you always want to refer to your doctor for good advice on an individual basis. Now, Rob founded a couple of companies, and his background is more in marketing and computer gaming. I'm a psychologist and a writer, but my main interest has been motivation. Why is it we do the things we do when sometimes we know they're not healthy? And why can't we develop healthier habits? Everybody here knows how hard that is to do. So I've looked into a few things, and we've actually been practicing relatively good healthy habits for, well, Rob, his entire life, but at least the 20 years we've been together. And we work out together and we sort of motivate each other. So we're going to share some of the things we've learned and some of the things we've learned from other people and other books. I think it's important to learn what other seniors are doing, because it's one thing if an expert or a doctor tells you, well, here's, you should be doing this, this, and that. But when your friends can share what they're doing and you can see that it's working for them, then somehow that makes it more actionable, more human. So we're going to share some of the knowledge that we've gleaned over the years, and our hope is that you'll understand a little bit more about the aging process and find a way to do what you need to do for your body. More than knowledge is required, however. If you want to live longer and have fewer illnesses and fewer of the chronic conditions that make us miserable in old age, you're going to have to do more than just learn about what's good for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Action is really required by all of us. It's a leap from knowing what you should do and what you actually do. It is pretty daunting. And with exercise, you just can't do it just one time. You say, oh, I just worked out, I'm fit, you know, I'm done. It's just something you have to do again and again. You have to, and we recommend, you know, once you get to, not begin, but once you get into a program, is to get at least some movement 6 days a week. Can't think of that often. So often, this is our day off. So, it's the gym's closed. And so anyway, every so often we can have a day off. Now, it's probably, we think it's working, because we're still alive, number one. Patsi, my lovely wife, is 72. And I'm a little bit younger, I'm 76. And the longer we live, the more we're convinced that exercise is saving fat, our butts. So we've all heard this message before, again and again. If you want to live longer, you've got to exercise, right? Well, and you must be sick and tired of hearing the so-called experts droning on and on about exercise.
But there's actually some things that you can start doing differently and greatly improve your possible health and longevity. Now, Rob's been exercising his entire life as a professional athlete in the 60s. He's always loved sports and done something, baseball, basketball, you name it. But I'm coming from an entirely different world. Everyone in my family died really young, like in their 50s or 60s. I mean, everyone. And it's either from cancer or alcoholism. And I didn't play sports growing up. But as I approached my 40s, I knew something was not going in the right direction. And I knew I was going to have to make some changes. In those days, a good workout for me was all 3 floors of Saks Fifth Avenue with a credit card. But here's what happened. At age 40, I said, okay, what's the plan for the second half of life? And so I quit drinking. I got myself a personal trainer, started working out. I took up tennis, started playing tennis. And I went back to graduate school to study psychology to try to find some answers to, the meaning of life and things like that. Now, I wish I could say I found the answers in psychology, but all that really did was give me more questions. But I did discover some self-help groups that really provided some pretty good practical information about healthy habits. Groups such as AA, Weight Watchers, and others. And I read a lot about motivation and habits in the brain and breaking addictions. Now, 30 years later, I'm faced with another challenge, and that's aging. And I think many of us in this room, not all but most, are facing the challenges of growing older. It's not easy, and as I say, it's not for sissies. But most of us don't know how to do that because none of us have been this old before. We feel internally in this little image inside of ourselves like we're still young. I mean, I still think of myself as 20,
I'm a 30-year-old with something wrong.
Yeah. So there's really not much published in the way of guidance for how to age well, how to age successfully. Most of our role models were our parents, and unfortunately most of them sort of got old and died, and some of them well, and most of them not well. And we've seen the ravages of poor diet and poor exercise, poor lack of exercise, in many of the older people that we've known. But today's a new day. And there's a lot more possibilities for us as we grow older than our parents ever had. So what's the answer to the question, why can't I exercise? Why don't I take up a sport? Why don't I get the habit of going to the gym and just go every day? Well, we've all got excuses. And some of them are pretty valid excuses. Some of them are good reasons. I don't know anyone of my friends who doesn't have major body ache and pain, some days worse than others. So it's really a challenge to just get out there and move and do exercise. It's not easy. What happens in aging? We experience a steep decline in hormone production in our later years. So our body becomes less efficient at detoxifying. The DNA in our cells become damaged, and a lifetime of exposure to toxins and pollutions in the air, the water, in our food start taking its toll. It overwhelms the body's repair systems. What we could get away with when we were 40 is true. A previously robust immune system now becomes fatigued and less effective. We get sick more easily, and we hold that cold or flu, whatever, much more longer. More longer. You get it. Anyway. And if we get injured, it takes longer to repair. The body just doesn't bounce back. Also, we don't efficiently digest and metabolize food. We feel tired a lot, so we don't do as much. We don't exercise or play as much because we've got aches and pains. Also, we give in to the faulty myth that in old age we're supposed to just relax and do nothing. We're supposed to be retired.
Yeah, well, that's all the problems. Everybody knows the problems, but there's got to be a solution here someplace, you know. I mean, a lot of the speakers that I've heard, a lot of books we've read, really they're great at laying out all the problems, but they don't want to tell you, they never really tell you the solution. So what can we do? Well, here's the deal. If you want to live and enjoy the rest of your life, you have to get up and get moving. You have to exercise just about every day. And that's the bottom line. As Patsi said, we're all growing older. And I don't just mean every year, and pretty much that's what we see on the outside. We're growing older on the inside, every hour of every day. And on a cellular level, what's the word, mitochondria? Mitochondria, excuse me. Which is inside it's the DNA of your cells, the nucleus of your cell, and they're responsible for replicating your DNA and for making your cells divide and making new muscle, new nerve, new brain cells, new body tissue on a regular basis. And that's what we're trying to feed. What's really interesting, and I didn't really know this, those cells replace your stomach, the lining of your stomach, every 5 days. You get new cells because your digestive system is so fragile, and so you're getting new cells. Your red blood cells every 120 days. Your skin cells every 2 weeks. They're completely replaced, which I can't figure out why I still have scars, but
Yeah, why do I still have wrinkles?
wrinkles, but bone cells are replaced about every 7 years. Muscle cells vary, but and fat cells about every 12 years. So pretty much about every 10 to 12 years, you have a completely new body. Completely new body. So the mitochondria don't necessarily. Did I say it? Okay, mitochondria don't necessarily get the necessary chemicals, fats, protein, enzymes, and fuel. And the fuel, by the way, comes from exercise. That's what they get. And if they don't get it, then they can't replicate, and then you lose a cell. So a cell here, a cell there, and before you know it, you've lost a percentage of muscle and bone. Now, this is really sad. Osteoporosis and sarcopenia is the loss of muscle. Those are two of the biggest problems facing anybody my age and even younger at all. On the average, people lose 30% of their muscle strength, muscle mass, between the ages of 50 and 70. Another 30% of what's left every decade after that. Pretty soon you're in the minus. Long enough you've lost, do the math. Yeah. And generally people lose about 1% of their lean muscle mass per year after year. And bone loss is pretty much almost the same. You start losing bone at about 25. And then it just keeps on growing and going and going. Until eventually you'll see people who are bent over and they have lost both muscle and bone to that point. Now it's not irreversible, it is reversible. But if you have to deal with the pain, it's really, really difficult. So more than anything else, what we've discovered through a lot of trial and error is that good nutrition and exercise, daily exercise, enable us to live longer, healthier, and pretty much happier. And science is only just beginning to find and have the proof that those two things, along with the proper rest and social life and dealing with stress, but exercise and diet are the two primary motivators that will get you to the goals you want.
So it's probably not the first time you've heard this, although I'm completely amazed how many times people go to the doctor and the doctor forgets to mention exercise. But it's really not complicated, and again, it's not knowledge that's going to save you, it's action. So just two things, what you eat and what you do, how you move, exercise. So in the war of aging, if there are any quick fixes, if I can give you a quick formula, super simple, but the hard part is actually doing it. And instead of World War I, World War II, I call it WWE plus E. Watch what you eat and exercise. Watch what you eat and exercise. That's all you got to do, but you have to do it every day of your life. And if you watch what you eat and exercise, you'll find that your belief system shifts, and you start actually eating better and exercising more. It takes good nutrition to give you the fuel you need to work out and to move. So the two go hand in hand. There are certain hormones that are only released in the body through movement, and these help regulate everything in your body. If you exercise, the cells in your body think it's time to decay, and they will do so. They're very efficient at doing so.
Or short fat.
Yeah. Unless you tell your cells otherwise, they will self-destruct. It's in your DNA. But when you give your body signals through hormones, through movement and exercise, those cells say, oh, we're needed. Let's get into action. And they will stop the self-destruction and decay and start building things again. Even your brain can grow new neurons. They've shown that through aerobic exercise, there's a hormone in the muscle called, for short, BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, that can grow new brain cells. This hormone travels from the muscle through the blood-brain barrier and begins building new brain cells, very much like Miracle Grow does for your garden. It's amazing. So what happens is little things, even just walking, gardening, exercise, anything that's weight-bearing, and by that I'm not talking about dumbbells, I'm talking your own body weight, squats, all that sort. It's going to have an effect on the cellular level. So many people I know go to the gym and they say, oh, I did that and I don't see any difference. I don't have any muscles. But you do, only you can't see it yet. And sometimes it takes a long time to see those results, but they're there on a cellular level, whether you can see them or not. So, with resistance training, our cells keep getting those signals to grow, not to decay. And sure, our mitochondria one day are just going to stop operating. They're not going to build new muscle and new tissue. That's part of aging. We can't avoid that. But in the meantime, if you've worked out today, you know that you slowed down that process just a little bit. And the accumulation of healthy days is what counts in the long run. Of all the different ways you can exercise and play sports and be active, there's one that stands out above all the others as being more effective for health and longevity, and that is strength training. And you can do that several ways. Strength training is also called resistance training or weightlifting. It involves anything when you're pulling or pushing or resisting. So, Mr.
Like you and
Bodybuilder?
Actually, I can't really state this any clearer than weight or resistance training is the key element for turning back the clock, reversing the aging process. All the fun activities, all the golf and tennis and all the Pilates and swimming and pretty much anything else you do, volleyball, ping pong, I mean, you name it, they're fine, they're great.
It's all good.
They're all good, but, you know, all the fun activities, the aerobic sports, they're not going to contribute as much to halt the long spiraling path of DNA error and decay over the years, no matter how much or how often you do them. I mean, they're great. I'm not bad-mouthing any aerobic training or anything else. I do it myself. I love to play tennis. I play tennis 6 days a week. I play 2 hours a day. That's not enough. Not even begin to do enough. I mean, and I'm not bragging or anything like that. I go from tennis to the gym, and I do 2 hours in the gym. So I'm getting 4 hours a day of something. 4 hours a day at 76, I'm doing something. And it works. So anyway, the intensity of your resistance training will achieve a number of beneficial changes on the molecular, the enzymatic, the hormonal, and the chemical levels of your body, which will slow down and stop many of the causes that related to age and sedentary lifestyle. So I'm not saying that, again, that power walking, swimming, and yoga, and running aren't, and many of the other good aerobic activities are not important. Those help maintain your health for as long as you live. But what I'm saying is that resistance training, even if it's only your own body weight, doesn't have to be dumbbells and barbells. Even if it's your own body, those will help will actually rejuvenate your body, and you could be younger next year. By the way, a great book out that was 10 years old called Younger Next Year. Anybody ever read it? So some of you read it. Great for you. Great book. Unfortunately, it's 10 years old. So much has changed in 10 years, which is one of the reasons why we wrote our book.
So, Rob and I will admit that we've become a little bit addicted to exercise. It didn't happen overnight, it happens little by little, but I prefer that to any other kind of addiction. And what that means is that for us to go out and do something, it's actually enjoyable. We actually enjoy what we're doing. It's not that way when you start out, I can appreciate that. Sports are always fun if you find a sport you really like. And some activities, dancing, lots of things are really fun, but the resistance training, it's work, and you don't always like it, but you do it because it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off. Now, we're only, in our age group, about 2.7% of people over 65 can say that they make exercise a regular part of their daily lives. 2.7% of seniors exercise regularly.
That's a U.S. statistic.
And that's really lower for those in their 70s, and that means really low. So there are no lack of surveys on people who exercise and people who don't. According to U.S. Health and Human Services, 74% of adults over 18 don't exercise regularly. 40% of people, all ages, don't get any leisure time exercise at all. And another report says that 5% of adults participate in 30 minutes of physical activity every day. But then again, more than 80% of adults do not meet the guidelines for the Center of Disease Control for healthy people, for muscle strengthening activity. So you're going to be in that small portion of seniors that are wise enough to take steps to ensure that they can be active and healthier. Now, our lifespans are getting longer. They say that anyone alive today can count on living to their 80s and maybe even their 90s. I don't know how many of you are prepared for that. I'm certainly not, especially financially. However, if you're going to live longer, you want to make sure that you live those years well, that you're able to do things. Hi, Bob. I see a friend who's a poster child for senior fitness. He's playing tennis just about every day, and he's well into his 80s. Another friend of mine is 90, still great on the tennis courts.
Yeah, and by the way, when she said those statistics that she just read out, that's adults, so that's anybody over 18, that's not seniors.
Yeah.
It gets worse as you get older. Statistics. But anyway, yeah, what else is new? We all know that, we all agree, pretty much every senior I've ever talked to knows intellectually that you need to do more for your health than just sit around. So the problem isn't just knowledge. The problem, I think, that the seniors they're not stupid. I mean, at least not generally. I know a few, but you know, you're survivors. If you're past 65,
Yeah.
you've been here a long, long time, right? You've survived. You've lived a long life. So you're not stupid, you know, you're not lazy, you're not difficult, you're not really weak, and you're certainly not self-destructive or suicidal, I hope not, anyway. But to not engage in it, regular exercise is suicide. It's long, slow, death, but it is suicide and it's debilitating. So, since most of us here are not suicidal, any suicidal people? Don't raise your hand because you'll make seriously the rest. So why don't we like to exercise? I like to add.
Let me cover that, I'll answer that for you. Since we only have 10 minutes left.
Oh, okay.
An important part about, you know, we all struggle with this, but there's a good reason why we like to be couch potatoes. It's in our DNA. Because when you think about it, we've inherited the programming in our brains from cavemen 10,000 years ago. Now, cavemen did not have to go to the gym. They didn't do squats or sit-ups or anything like that. They couldn't. I mean, they didn't have to. Because for them, to hunt and run on the savannas was to chase after lunch or to run away from being somebody else's lunch. So they were motivated by hunger and by fear, and that worked fine for them. They stayed fit. We have the same brain. When we're not active, our brain tells our body, relax, repose yourself, recuperate, because you know, the tiger's coming. It's not there yet, so just take it easy. So we are like that. Once we get home, we like to take our shoes off, kick back, watch some television, sit and read a book. It's totally normal and, in fact, required. You need to rest and recuperate. But in modern day, in the 21st century, we have too many opportunities to rest and relax and to eat, and there's no tigers chasing us. So to replace that, we need to go to the gym or take up a sport or do something.
You know, there's three ways to overcome that caveman brain. One is to actually feed the endorphins. You know, those are the when you exercise, you generate energy, and you drive the endorphins into action. Second way is to play and combine exercise with playful activities. So playing actually makes it a lot easier to keep up. Third is consistency. That is the key. So keep it up, don't stop, just keep it going. We already talked a lot about health span versus lifespan.
Right. So now experts claim that 50 to 70% of the chronic diseases of aging and illness that happens to seniors can be reversed or eliminated completely with lifestyle changes. That's a big chunk, 50 to 70%. And of course, not in every case, you can't, sometimes you're going to get heart disease and diabetes anyway. But if you have an exercise program, you're going to have fewer problems with the disease of aging than you would otherwise. Heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, respiratory dysfunction, osteoporosis, cancers, back pain, and digestive problems. All of these are made, less worse, more better, if you have an exercise program.
So, as I mentioned, our book is called Senior Fitness for Life. It's currently in, we call it beta stage. We've written it, we've completed it. Actually, we've got copies out. We're not selling it. This is why we can't talk about it. We're actually giving it out. We wrote the book because we would like to see more people adopt this healthy lifestyle and live longer and healthy and get the amazing miraculous benefits that we have found from exercise, both physically and mentally too. The book, I'll just talk really quick. I mean, I have 1 minute to talk about it. No? Okay. I played some football when I was younger. I played collegiately and I played professionally. And I wound up getting a bunch of concussions. And I've always been waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it hasn't yet. And most professional football players have a life expectancy of 53 years. So I've been fortunate that I've gone way past that. But my mental faculties, and this is no example, by the way, but my mental faculties are really good. So anyway, the book 3 installments. We've actually written the first one, which helps overcome objections and gets you on the right path and gets you started to maintain your program. It's kind of a basic book. The second book is going to cover all fitnesses for all levels of seniors, and whether you're injured or whether you're starting from a wheelchair or whatever it is. The second book will be about that. And the third book is going to embrace nutrition and supplementation. And we also have, we have a few free copies here that we brought, and perhaps, and we would like people to share their stories with us. We didn't write this book from an ego standpoint, trust me. We wanted it to really share our stories, but we want you to be a part of it. We want everybody to feel like they're a part of it. We have a section on our book blog page called War Stories.
War stories.
War stories. And we already have a few, and the book's only 3 weeks old, so it's, we have a few people who have already committed their stories, which is fabulous. And we encourage you to go and read those because they are really inspirational. It's not just,
we want to hear your stories, your path, what you did right, what you did wrong, because we find that very inspiring to other seniors just like yourself.
Yeah.
You know, some people say, well, you know, he did that, I can do that too, and that's the kind of story that we would like to share on www.seniorfitness4life.
Don't write it down. I have cards.
Okay.
So, thank you for inviting us. And questions?
That was good. I thought I was going to hate it down there. Here in the back.
I'm 86 years old.
Yay.
You don't bother in the money. If you're younger, you would know.
Okay.
David's 112, and he doesn't know.
I noticed that there's one thing that
You can hold up the mic closer to you. Thank you. And hold it kind of straight out. You don't need to change the setting. It's the angle. The whole thing on this baby is the angle.
one thing you didn't mention is mindfulness. That's not a problem. It's a matter of growth. And when you exercise, pay attention. Every repetition may be your limit. It depends on how fast you move, how many repetitions you can do. If you do heavy weights, do them very slowly and feel carefully what the stress on your body is. If you do one repetition too many, or if you lift 1 pound too much, you're risking injury. When you go into a published program, they may say, do 12 reps. You pay attention. If 6 is all you can manage, or 3, that's where you are today. There'll be tomorrow. But you have to bring your body with you wherever you go.
You know, thank you so much. You make obviously a really good point that I know that they.
The book is covered. There's all kinds of how to get started and how to lift properly, how not to injure yourself. We didn't cover a lot of it. I mean, the book is 300 pages. There's a lot of stuff in there.
And the back again.
Okay, as I said before, I'm 86 years old.
He's still 86.
I teach yoga classes, a regular yoga class 3 times a week and a chair yoga class 2 times a week. I also, with the yoga class, before yoga class, I teach a half-hour of strength training.
Great.
Yes.
Good for you.
Using weights and using your body to strengthen yourself. And actually, when I say I teach yoga, I teach a form of yoga where I bring in a little Tai Chi, a little Qigong, a little of a number of other fitness things that I've studied.
That's so great to become eclectic. So there's a lot here, which is what you're pointing out.
Yeah, there's
which
a lot.
we really appreciate.
There's a lot available here, and there's great Tai Chi classes and Qigong classes, and part of
We just keep this
Jeff, you know what, we want to take questions because we want to learn more about them, but it's great that you're a resource here and anybody who's interested can find you here, okay?
Okay.
Let me take some more questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It was very enjoyable. I just have a question for you about, it's sort of in the line of motivation. And I have an on-off switch. If it's on, I'm working hard. If it's off, I'm not doing anything. And it seems like I've been like that all my life. And in 2012, I ran, at age 63, my first 3 triathlons. So I go at it pretty hard, but then I lay off quite a bit too. So do you have any suggestions as to how to get rid of the highs and lows?
You haven't gotten into where we've actually changed the neural pathways. Affecting the neural pathways, well, by taking exercise or fitness and supplanting some other, thing that you like better, like eating or like pills or video games or whatever it is. We get a lot of our endorphins and a lot of our dopamine from the things that we love, and so you can actually switch. You get dopamine out of exercise. You just have to get to that, and once you get to that point, then you are hooked. And there's pretty much no way, unless you get some terrible debilitating injury or disease, there's pretty much no way to quit. We're hooked. It's really hard to stop.
Let me just add to that, your story is I'm sorry, very common, not that you are common, but I know a lot of people, and myself, I've been that way too, all or nothing. And one thing that's helped me over the years is adding variety of activities, not sticking to just one routine, but trying something new. I recently added Pilates to my routine. Then I'll switch and I'll go do some tap dancing, And because I have a variety of things, if I have an injury in one body part or another, I can usually go to another activity that doesn't involve that body part. But to go all out in one thing leaves you vulnerable to burnout.
We actually have a whole chapter about cross-training and why cross-training is so good for you. And you may love tennis, you may love running, but your body really needs to do other things to adapt to it. And it'll help your tennis game. It'll help your golf game.
In the way back?
Okay. I'm in that percentage that you talked about, 2 point whatever it was, and I'm 71 and a half. And I've been a runner since I was 17. I've also had some health issues, and I've run through them. Pacemaker. 3 weeks ago, hernia, because I lifted. I wasn't paying attention to what he said. But I have this thing. I believe in body, mind, and spirit. And so the 3 of them together are really important. And so I have a question to you about that. I've heard a very, if I may say so, a mechanistic talk, and you talked a little bit about all the other things that are necessary to get to be an old and revered person. But what about the other aspects of it? When the going gets tough, I mean, you know what I'm saying, don't you?
Yeah, I do, absolutely. It's the hardest part of any program. I don't care what age you are. And obviously, we didn't cover a lot because there's so much to cover. In fact, at 300 pages, we stopped writing the book because it was getting too big. So much, in fact, 90% of any program is your inner game, not your outer game or your results you're doing, not what you're doing, what tactics you're doing, but it's your mindset and how you think about yourself as you engage in activities. And sometimes you need help with that. Sometimes you need a coach or a trainer or a buddy even, or your spouse. But one of the things that happens if you're running or walking is you have time to think. And sharing what you think with another person as you walk or run is good too. But that's a whole other chapter. But thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you. So many of us seniors have developed some kind of dependency on caffeine and alcohol to different degrees. Have you looked at what this does to us, and do you have something to say about those 2 chemicals?
Yeah, I covered it pretty much
Actually, alcohol is one of the most destructive and toxic things you can put into your body because it's taking away energy, taking away all of those resources are processing the alcohol instead of whatever pollutants are in your body. So it's your choice.
It's just very destructive to yourself.
I've seen seniors when I was working as a psychologist, brilliant people trained as an engineer who scored as a mentally retarded person because he'd been drinking his whole life. That's a shame to see. I'm not saying that any of you would be drinking to that extent, but that's what alcohol can do to your brain. You're at much greater risk for memory loss and dementia.
It also goes back to the changing the neural pathways too. You're getting some dopamine, some endorphins from the alcohol to make you feel good, it makes you feel good. And it's just a matter of finding something that's better for your health.
Yeah.
That supplants that same feeling. Because, you know, I won't say that 20 minutes of exercise will give you any kind of a great feeling. But when you get to that point where you're doing, you know, 2 hours a day, then you're kicking in the endorphins. And I read a great book about 35 years ago that actually got me started on this. It's called No More Dying. It's out of print now. You probably can't find it. It was written by 2 gerontologists. And they studied all the pseudosciences of aging and anti-aging and living forever. And at the end of the book, they said, none of that crap works. What only works, the only thing that works is vigorous exercise 2 hours a day. And I was, you know, 40 years old at the time. And I'm thinking, my God, I'm getting 2 hours a month. I need to change, and that's when I changed. That's when I changed my life.
I happen to like caffeine, and you get conflicting reports. It can be really good for you or bad for you.
In small amounts.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your questions. Thank you, Peter, for your talk. So, thank you all. We look forward to seeing you next week. And if you would help us out by stacking your chairs, throwing away your coffee cups that are paper, and please